when I was about 10. And I booked a featured extra role in The Flight, the movie with Denzel Washington and
You know Denzel?
No is a very strong word, but I met him.
Okay.
I met him when I was 10, and he was like off to himself. Like, he talked to me, of course, but he was off to himself, and he was like in his character. He was in his notebook, and I was like, why is he over there by himself? Like, he's not talking to anybody here. But then he would get in the scene, and they would say action, and he would be on it. And so I was like, what's that about? That's when I started reading the books and asking myself questions and being like, okay, well, what is a motivation? Like, what's an objective? How do you get, really into a role? Is that a thing? What does that mean? That was when I started really getting into it, was seeing that for myself.
So to that point, right, we talked off camera about potentially describing your acting skill, right? We used examples of method actors, right? I don't know if Denzel is a method actor, but he's a damn good actor. But just to be able to, as soon as a blink of a button, you can just switch it.
Right.
And you're no longer Laila.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You are whoever. How are you able to compartmentalize that? And how long after the cut does it naturally still take over? You know what I'm saying?
For me, I think, it takes a lot of practice to be able to just snap in. I think for some actors, that's just not how their process is. I think for me, where I'm at right now, that's not really how mine is. I kind of got to get off camera in my trailer. I kind of got to listen to my music, my playlists. I got to write in my journal.
She was bumping Lizzo, just FYI.
I was.
So we listening to Lizzo while
Shout out to Lizzo. I'm not listening to Lizzo for Nicole.
Okay.
That's a different vibe.
I got you.
But like, for Nicole, I listen to a lot of NWA, and I know that's West Coast, but it's still like, the kind of vibe.
I see the vintage,
you know what I'm saying?
like,
it's 80s,
yeah.
it's, hip hop vibe, So I listen to a lot of NWA and a lot of 80s rap to get into it. Things that are kind of like gritty to make me, get my sense of anger, because Nicole's not always angry, but there is a sort of anger. Her brothers are always angry. Yeah. But, growing up in the 80s in Detroit, the murder capital, being the sister of the two top drug dealers, that's a scary place. And that can invoke a lot of anger. Like, why am I here? Even if she doesn't know that. Right. So I try to get that in my body a little bit too, and then get in the accent. And I get it off camera a little bit before, and then I try to walk on set, and then during rehearsal is when it solidifies. I'm
curious to know the process of tapping into a better version of Nicole, right? And saying like, did you talk to any family members? Did you read books? Did you read articles? Did you see videos? Like, that whole process of what her character was in there, how was you better able to kind of understand, like, I'll say no like this, but she'll say no like nah. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, how did you add that to your repertoire?
Yes, that was definitely a lot of research. It was me looking at articles about BMF. That started when I got the audition, because I had, it was COVID time when I got that audition, so I had a lot of time on my hands. I was researching them. I was looking up, the documentaries that had been made about them on YouTube, and the videos of Big Meech and Terry actually that were out there. And so then there weren't a lot of videos or information on their family. So I kind of had to take that information about them and say, how would that affect a family? You know what I mean? How would that affect a little sister, that has to grow up behind them? And then what does that do to parents who are really religious, seeing their two oldest, go down this path? What's that gonna do to the way they treat their youngest? Right. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And then it wasn't until I actually got on set that I met the real Nicole. Shout out Miss Nicole. Love her. She, is very open, always talking to me, and we're always communicating and about, where her head was at during this time, or what she would have done in a situation like this, or in a scene like this. So we're always having open dialogue, and she helps me a lot, actually.
So speaking of on set, who had, like, you grown to, like, that's your set partner, you know what I'm saying? I know for me, I've shot commercials. but nothing long term. Take me through not only, who you grew fond over, respectfully, on set. Who's your buddy? Let's start with that first.
Everybody's a buddy. Everyone's really nice. I think I would say Da Vinci, who plays Terry. Yeah. We're like right here. That's really my brother. Right. He is always cracking jokes with me. We're always going to find snacks or something like that. And then that's the cast member. Correct. And then off on the behind the scenes, Spencer Hutchins, he was one of the camera operators for the first and second season. He is my buddy. That is one of my besties on set. So I'm always right behind him looking in the camera like, what that mean? What's that shot? He let me there's this camera where you control it like a crane with two like joysticks. And he let me do it one time, not for the actual scene, but and so that was cool. It's just dope.
So what's the longest stint of time that you kind of have to stay on set?
I was on set for 12 hours before. I was on set for a full 12. When you turn 18, you gonna be on that set for as long as they need you.
Out of those 18 years, 18 years, find out on the 18th birthday that the kid ain't, whatever. Shout out to Ye, all right? Kanye. What I would say, out of that 12 hours, how much of that is work? Not study, but actual, like, on-camera work.
That really just depends. It depends on how many scenes you're scheduled for that day. It depends on how the day is going. What scenes are just so happen to be taking a long time. That day, I think I was mostly shooting, like a lot. How long is 12 hours? 12 hours.
Number to number.
Number to number. I probably was shooting for like 7. And then the other 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, the other 5 I was probably.
What's your debrief like? Like that day, I want you to stay in that day. How do you treat yourself? Is it ice cream? Is it like quesadillas?
Sleep. Going in that trailer and sleeping. Or just allowing myself, like if I have a full hour for lunch, the way that I think about being in character, there's like levels to it. So like when I'm on set and the camera's on, that's full Nicole. Right. But when I'm just in when the camera's off and not off, but when it's off and I'm just, eating a snack and I'm waiting, then it's maybe like 70%. When I'm in my trailer, I'm at like 50%. But if I have a full hour for like lunch, I let it go down to like 25% Nicole, just so I can still have it like, brewing.
It's still here.
It's still here. I can pull it back out. But I can also be like, okay, let me eat this meal. Let me breathe. Let me watch maybe, some TV that's still within the realm of BMF, but that I enjoy. So I can kind of come out of it for a little bit because I know I'm gonna be here for a while. And then I can pull it right back out and go back on set.
Layla, you still here, girl? You hungry?
You hungry? How am I feeling
Nicole,
right now?
like, man, listen here. Look, we eating this.
We eating this right now.
Right. I love it.